Hey there, Rednecks, Preppies, Redneck Preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great, good. It's obvious that a number of you out there don't care for my mental well-being because you keep asking for these Bubba Gun videos, even knowing the effect that they have on me. That said, time for another edition of these monstrosities. Let's spool up the Prepiotron 3000 and see what horrors it spits out at us. Well, if you ever wanted a tangible example of the "we have that at home" meme, well, it's this thing. Grab a quick look and you think you have an AR platform rifle in an unfortunate wood stock. But then you look closer and you see that everything outside the flash hider looks a little like that cousin who got hit in the head once and has never been the same since. I think if I had to choose between owning this rifle or owning no rifles, I might actually opt for the latter. Speaking of something not quite right, I've proclaimed in the past that zip ties are a greater boon to humanity than duct tape, and I will defend that position to my dying day. So I suppose I should like this, given that the optic mount is being held on by 5 of them. I'm going to assume that the magazine is inserted backwards for comic effect, but that begs the question as to why you're even able to do that in what is ostensibly a functional build.
It is held on.
I'm going to assume that this is one big practical joke. But with today's degeneracy, who can even be sure anymore? Faked Tommy guns. I went quite a while without having one in this series, and now I can't seem to go a single episode without including at least one. So this thing started life as a Freedom Ordnance FX9 and has Blackwood Trading Company furniture with Magpul M-Bus sights. So the FX9 runs you, $800 or $900, MSRP at least. I priced the wood out at about $160, and the sights are about another, say, $90 to $240, depending on which ones you go with. So for upwards of $1,250, you can look like you're too poor to afford a real Thompson. Well, I am anyway. There's either not much to say about this or too much to say about this. Take a decent pistol from FN, then add every damned thing you can to it. Again, I think this is some kind of joke. I don't know how you could mount the laser on the side, and note, it also conveniently obscures where the mount would be for the scope. Hey, look, that said, the foregrip, lengthened barrel, and can are all plausible and still tip this thing towards more embarrassing than simply not owning a handgun at all. Well, we can't go an episode without a molested Lee Enfield, and this week's entry is someone pining for the creation of a Paratrooper model of that rifle. And while it could be a fake, Lord knows there are a lot of them out there. It appears they used a jungle carbine to make this. Man, anyone who jumps on boomers for sporting milsurps and using them as hunting or target rifles needs to step back and realize that at least those had a sense of purpose and utility. Can someone look at this monstrosity and tell me that it's defensible? Just in case you thought that bubbing was the sole preserve of those uncouth Americans. And, well, Canadians when it comes to SKSs, but won't mention that. My friends, here is a ruined Mosin Nagant M9130, courtesy of our freedom-challenged cousins in Old Blighty. You have a buttstock appropriate only for an SMG. There's a bipod and a foregrip. And they say that only today's teens are confused about their gender. And the most minimalist of minimal stock and receiver.
What the hell is that?
I admire anyone who thinks mounting a scope on their Mosin makes it a more capable shooter. Simoheya killed over 500 Russians using only iron sights, but you think a scope turns a Mosin into a better than minute of barn door shooter. Well done, Britain. I'm told that this pistol began life as a Glock 17. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm way too disinterested to eyeball Gaston's entire catalog to verify which one this really is. But even Tupperware guns deserve better than this. A question I find myself increasingly asking as I age into old crank is, why? I honestly don't get the point of this, not even in the I did it because I could sense. The introduction of a trigger bar always makes a gun worse to shoot. I have no great love for Glocks, but the 17 has been around for 40 years for a reason. It's a reliable handgun, and someone decided to make it less so. Brilliant. Okay, earlier our cleric friend declared that lever action to be haram, but I think this may merit that declaration even more. How do you even fire that comfortably with a bird's head grip that puts your hand so far away from the trigger? I know someone right now watching this thinks it's awesome. God bless him. There's very little about this, however, that doesn't provoke me. I think what irrationally annoys me the most is the pick rail in the front. I don't know why, but the fact that it's there makes one of my eyes spasm. I try and avoid politics on this channel. My motto is that everyone can enjoy guns and fishing, off-roading, and the great outdoors in general. But you make yourself a target, and I'ma take aim. Fitting that this doesn't have a stock on it. Probably gone thanks to the Donalds administration banning bump stocks back in 2018. Remember that? A lot of people gloss over that fact. That said, it's still a damnably ugly AR-15. Look, if you're going to sell your soul to any politician, at least spend real money and paint the rifle with their face on it. That way, you can imagine them explaining to you why they screwed you over. My love of M1 carbines is probably well known. I have opined in the past that if that rifle was a viable choice in terms of ammunition supply and magazines that actually work, Magpul, seriously, why aren't you making M1 carbine magazines? I would choose an M1 carbine over an AR-15 in an SHTF situation. Of course, I'm a boomer gun fan, so I guess that makes sense. The person who did this to an M1 carbine, obviously not a fan despite what they may tell you. I don't even get why this happened. There's nothing here that can be explained. Was the gun damaged and you did this? Damn son, they shot old Yaller. Sometimes you have to let the gun go as well if that was the case. Well, we haven't seen a bastardized C96 in precisely one episode, so let's have at her. This was described to me as a modernized C96. I honestly think some people miss the point of the beauty and use case of historical firearms. They're not your daily carry. Yeah, you could carry a Tokarev as your, daily carry pistol, and if you want to be cool beans, you can open carry an M1 Garand instead of an AR-15, but those ideas are as stupid as modernizing a C96. As always, I hope this was either a replica, though those things are damned expensive too, or a non-permanent change. Either way, to people like me, who will never own one of these, it's like watching a rich person light cigarettes with $100 bills. Well, I don't think we've had a Papa Shaw on in a while, so let's enjoy one that someone decided to mount an optic and an M203 grenade launcher. Now, I don't know if you could originally mount an optic on a PPSH, though something makes me think the Russians are just crazy enough to do that. And every search for information on the web turns out suggestions for Call of Duty loadouts for that particular subgun. Because of course it would. I don't know. I'm a dozen firearms into this particular episode, and I'm just getting too tired to get angry at this point to even comment on the grenade launcher. I'm the proverbial dead horse at this point, just being poked for signs of life. Hey, it's another Lee Enfield, and as I said in a video on debubbification of firearms, if a barrel is cut, you're screwed. I don't really get why you'd saw off the barrel of a rifle if you aren't going to shorten the butt as well. I mean, if you're going to res, go all the way. All I do know is that this thing must generate a fireball when firing that would make the jungle carbine blush. So let's take a Chiappa Firearms backpack survival gun, in this case the Little Badger, and add enough crap onto it so it's not really backpackable anymore, nor is it any better. Look, I don't care if it's this, an AR-7 or whatever, a .22 long rifle, survival rifle, is, and it is what it is proposition. So bipoding and scoping the thing is like imagining that the stripper really does like you. Again, in the irrational annoyance department is the fact that it has flip-up backup sights. I don't know why that annoys me as much as it does, considering there are at least half a dozen other things on this that are triggers. Hey, we got another Thompson, a fitting way to end this depravity. I get the feeling that this is a legit Thompson, though probably a more modern model than the original typewriters. Either way, faced with the dilemma of buying reasonably priced replacement furniture for their sub, hey, I named the company earlier which will sell it to you, someone decided instead to glom on what appears to be a Chinese Type 56 folding stock and pistol grip. Of all the choices that could have been made, and there is a colorful galaxy of them available to anyone in a similar circumstance, why on God's green earth did someone make all of this together? Look, one day if I get rich enough, I want to do a new YouTube series where we actually find the people who do this stuff and interview them. I need insight into this. Alright, that's it. I cannot take it no more. People tell me that they find these entertaining. All I know is that my doctor loves them as well, thanks largely to the billable hours and increased blood pressure scripts that they generate. No wonder he drives such a nice car for such a young doctor. At any rate, I hope you found today's video to at least be vaguely entertaining and mildly informative. As always, I hope you never bubba or sporter any of your classic guns. Please, I'm begging you. Take care, and bye-bye.